instruction, right? So this worked out. Look at this, Gail. It worked out perfect. So let yourself sit comfortably. It is Monday the 28th of June, for those of you who are online. Grab a strap. If you don't have a strap, except Gail, you won't need one. But otherwise, grab a strap. You don't need a strap, but yes, you do need a chair. So straps, and they're on the ends of the bookcases. And again, if you don't mind leaving them on the floor when you leave, so I can take them home and put them in the washing machine. I feel a little bit more comfortable doing that still. So I'll do that, and still wipe your blots down if you don't mind too. And we'll just keep on doing the best we can, right? Hope for the best. So sit comfortably. If you're in your chair, you can make sure your feet are hips distance apart and parallel. And if you're on the floor, grab blankets if you need to sit up on them. Sit up higher. It sometimes can make you feel more comfortable in your hips. And you can stretch your legs out or you can cross your legs, either one. Just be easy about letting your eyes gently close, lengthen up through the top of your head. And see it for a second. You can bring your hands in front of you, turn your palms up, and then cup one hand on top of the other one. So you just very easily rest your hands in front of you there with one hand on top. Doesn't matter which one because we'll switch. And then just be with your breath as you lengthen up through the top of your head. Letting your breath easily come in and go out through your nose. And start to feel your face relaxing and softening. And your jaw. Gently just switch the hand you have on top, and with those hands cupped there in front of you, let the other hand come on top. You'll feel a little bit different. See if you can just come back to your breath. Letting the breath come in to rise the belly, and of course if you're comfortable to come into those three-part breaths, inhaling into your belly, into your ribs, all the way up into your chest. And on your next exhale, let your hands release on out beside you here now. And we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come right down through the midline to be in front of our hearts. We're going to reverse and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. And then release your hands to wherever is comfortable. We're going to circle a little bit with our torsos. It doesn't have to be a big circle. Let yourself, as you exhale, come a bit forward, and then you come to one side. Inhale as you come back a little bit. Exhale as you head forward. So those circles continue in the same direction. Just enjoy feeling that movement with your breath. That can be as big or as small as you like. And when you're ready to go in the opposite direction, it depends on you where you stop so that you can just reverse. And again, follow your breaths as you circle in the other direction. Good. And we'll finish off so that we can end up sitting upright. So it kind of depends on you where you stop, and then come on back up. Let your arms come on out beside you again. And let's inhale the arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together again in front of our hearts. And now let's unfold our arms and take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, twist to your left. If you can bring your right hand all the way to your left knee, do. Or maybe more to the midline. Lengthen up through the top of your head. Wake up the spine a little bit here. Inhaling here. And on the exhale, we'll come on back around through center and all the way into the other direction. So again, lengthening up, feeling that space in the back of your throat now. Lengthen the back of your throat. One more inhale. And let your exhale bring you on back into center again. We're going to switch the cross of our legs if we're on the floor. You might want to stretch your legs out for a second though, before you do the other side. That's up to you. And then when you do come back into cross-legged, if you are on the floor, then go ahead and switch and bring your other leg in front. And let's release our arms out beside us. And inhale our arms straight out from our shoulders. Rotate your palms up here. Let yourself feel the shoulders soften down. And then just bend your elbows. Let your tips of your fingers touch the tops of your shoulders. And then let your left elbow come a little higher and your right elbow come a little bit down. And then inhale, come on back up and go to the other side. So the right elbow comes up, the left elbow comes down. And then you come up, you feel your side waist a little that way. Now take a nice inhale. And as you exhale, draw your elbows towards each other in front of you. Doesn't matter if they touch or not. When you inhale, just open back out wide. So again, exhaling, bringing the elbows forward. And on the inhale, opening them back wide. And then one more time. Exhale, bringing them forward. And then opening them wide. And now, let the elbows circle. And it doesn't matter which direction. So you're going to switch. So just circle whichever way feels good. Get bigger and bigger if it's okay for your shoulders with those circles. And then we will reverse the circle. So when you stop, if you want to start small, start small. And if you feel like getting bigger and bigger with the circles too. So you take your time, moving through. And when you feel like letting your elbows finish off down towards the ground, do. And then unfold your arms on down again beside you. Shake out your hands a little bit. And let's all stretch our legs forward, whether we're in a chair or on the floor. And just let your feet pedal a little bit now. So you're flexing one foot and pointing the other one. And then you switch when you choose to. So that you're feeling your feet, your ankles, and you're getting into both the fronts and the backs of your legs as well. And then flex both the feet at the same time. And see if you can turn your pinky toe down towards the ground. So you're turning out from your hips. And then bring the toes back up. And then point your feet again. And do that one more time. Flex through the feet and then turn out from your hips so the pinkies go down towards the ground. And then bring them back up to the top. Point your feet again. Good. And then shake out a little bit. If you're on the chair, you put your feet down. We're going to come around towards our hands and our knees. And you know, not being on your knees, great idea if it hurts you. So grab blankets so that you can have yourself up higher. Use a chair under your hands. Or blocks, or if you really want to get out of your hands, out of your wrists, come onto your forearms, either to your blocks or the floor of the chair. And take your time here. Get your feet or your knees right underneath you, and see if you can let your hips just shift a little bit to one side and then the other. And don't do anything in particular with your head. Let your head respond however it wants as you just shift your hips a little bit, like you're wagging your tail. And then release back into center. Look down there between your hands. And we'll start to exhale our way into a cat pose. Feeling the tailbone release down, letting the top of the head release down. And on the inhale, send your tailbone back and up. Let your belly drop down a little bit, your chest if you can. Where you look in cow pose is up to you. You'll feel why it feels like cow pose though. And then just ease your way again into your cat pose when you exhale. So see if you can just move through. If either cat or cow feels uncomfortable to you, you can always go from neutral spine and then move through to a little less of a cow or a little less of a cat if either one of them bother you, right? So just be mindful. Find what movement you can through your own spine. It might be really small. Let yourself just ease your way, finding the suppleness of the spine here. Good. Finish off the one you're on. And we'll come to a more neutral spine here now. And let's bring our left foot forward, our right foot back, to come into our first lunge. Now, whether you're up on a chair with your hands or the blocks or the floor, if your wrists are bothering you, adjust what you do with your hands. You can come to fists, you can hold the outside of your chair. You can be up on fingertips, which also takes it out of your wrists. So just focus here on coming into the legs and the hips. Feel the length of the back leg there. Reach into your inner heel. Good, and we're gonna switch legs, and whatever you wanna do to switch to the other side. Remember, how long your stance is in your lunge is totally up to you. You do want the feet a little apart like you're on narrow railroad tracks though, which puts your hips into a better place. You don't wanna feel like you're on a tightrope, in other words. You don't want that left foot directly behind your right one. One more breath, and let's just switch again. We'll come back to the right leg back. Now, a lot of you have been coming a long time and you really like to lift a hand up. If you like to put your left hand up on your thigh or your forearm, so if you're in a longer lunge, you can maybe get away with getting your forearm down there. Or if you like to try to lift both hands up, you're more than welcome to do that. Just be mindful. And when you're ready, we'll switch and go to the other side again. Once that left foot goes back, get that alignment of that front knee. Remember, make sure it's not going out beyond your ankle. And again, you can lift your hand up or not. Your right hand or forearm can come up to your thigh. Feel that engagement of your belly here as you gently press your feet away from each other. Good. And then we'll come on forward into standing forward bend. Very different for each person. So make sure at first your feet are hips distance apart and parallel, and then you decide if you need some support, right? You can always grab a block if you have a chair and get out of your hands and be with that long back with your forearms resting on a block. If you don't have a chair there, obviously, and you need some support, elbows above the knees with bent knees can really lengthen out your low back. It'll keep that rounding from coming in the low back. So you don't want to feel like you're loading your back. You don't want to feel any kind of discomfort. So you got to kind of finagle, find a way that works for you. And if your head can hang, let it. If not, keep the back of your head more in line with your spine. And then just enjoy feeling your breaths now. Really feel. Imagine you have a rubber band around your rib cage. And when you inhale, that rubber band expands in all directions. And then as you exhale, just let yourself soften more and more through your face. Every time you exhale, just feel more and more release. Full deep breaths. Letting both your inhales and your exhales feel very full, very long. And then we'll let our hands come to our hips. We're going to rise straight on up to standing and inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So finding a mountain pose here that feels comfortable for you, right? So you can look at your feet. You do want to stay fairly parallel with your feet so that you get that sense of being not one foot turned out like more than the other one, right? Get comfortable up into your hips. And then for a second, just let your hands come onto your hips so that you just allow yourself to feel your hands there. Feel that sense of your pelvis aligning. So when your hands are just like this, you can tell if you're tucking your tailbone forward, right? It rounds the whole upper back. See if you can feel your tailbone instead reaching down towards between your heels, but zip up your low belly at the same time. You're still feeling your tailbone reach down. And then just let your hands come on in front of your heart, feeling your fingertips, the fingers lightly touch, and your thumbs too, and your palms, whatever part of your palms touch. Bringing your gaze on out as though you're looking at the horizon, whether your eyes are opened or closed. Finding that quiet strength of simply standing in your mountain pose. And letting your arms then release on down beside you. We'll inhale both arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, bend your knees, come on forward into a standing forward bend. And let your next inhale lengthen out your spine. Find that flat, long back. Reach back through your tailbone and out through the top of your head. And we'll step our right foot back and come into lunge. Again, where your hands are, it's fine. Blocks, the floor, the chair. Draw your shoulders down away from your ears. And inhale. And on your exhale, come into your version of downward facing dog pose that works for you. Whether your hands are up on the chair, or down on the blocks, or down on the floor. Just feel the elbows gently hugging inward. You can walk a little bit, bend a knee at a time. Let yourself enjoy opening up the back of those long legs. And just be mindful if you're using your blocks, they can get kind of tippy, so be careful if you're on the highest height of those blocks. And we're going to come on out towards a plank, towards a push-up pose here, whether you actually come into a full one or you put your knees down and do a half one, or put your forearms down and do a forearm plank. It's fine. Finding a little bit of core work going on here. If you like to work your arms and shoulders, you can bend your elbows a little bit. You don't even have to do a full push-up. If you bend your elbows in towards your ribs, man, there you've got a lot of work going on. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. So again, take your time. If you need to bend your knees in down dog, do. Let yourself just enjoy feeling the length of your spine. You're going to open the backs of your legs even if they're bent. And then we'll bring our right foot forward to find lunge. So if you're on the floor and you need to put your left knee down to get there, do. Whatever works. Just make sure that front knee is bending no farther forward than your ankle. You don't want to put that stress on your knee. And then we'll come forward into standing forward bend. Feet hips distance apart and parallel, and again, whatever kind of support you want. I know some of you are just fine to release your hands down and then hold your own elbows because that feels good. So if that feels good to you, do. If not, keep support. And then just feel those nice full breaths. Again, focus on the breaths fully, deeply. So you don't shortchange either your inhales or your exhales. Imagine them being fairly equal in length. You can count when you breathe in. Maybe reach that same count when you breathe out. And we'll, from here, release our hands, back up to our hips, bend our knees, press into our feet equally as we rise up, and inhale our arms out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Let's inhale our hands now, right up through the midline. As you exhale, open them like wings as you bend your knees and come forward into standing forward bend. And let your next inhale help you find that nice long flat back. Remember, your hands can be on your shins, on your thighs, on your blocks or your chair. And this time, left foot will come back to find your lunge. And again, be mindful of that front knee. Doesn't matter how long your stance is, just make sure you're not bending that right knee farther forward than your ankle. We're going to come on from here into a downward dog. So making your way into your downward facing dog pose. Again, be mindful. Really feel that sense of you're reaching back through your tailbone, your sitting bones. And on the next inhale, come on out towards that plank. Again, your option. Knees down, go to forearms if you want. Stay in the plank, reach your sitting bones down to your heels. Bend your elbows if you want to. You know, whatever helps you really find that sense of engaging the belly, your low back, your hips are working here, obviously your arms, your shoulders. We'll come on back into down dog though from here. So reaching your way back. And again, walk a little bit, bend a knee at a time, and turn your head a little side to side if you can. So you're just turning your head to the right and then the left as you walk through your dog. And then finish off back at center with everything. We're going to bring the left foot forward, a fine lunge. Again, be mindful of that lunge. Remember, if you're using your blocks, if you have them on your mat, right under your shoulders, it's a little bit safer than having them way off to the side like this. So they can give you a little support. You know, you want your hands to be there for a reason. And then we'll step on forward and come back into standing forward bend again. Now, anybody who can, and don't do it if it bothers you, but if you can, put your hands up on your low back and interlace your fingers and clasp them. Now, you can have a long back doing this. You can bend your knees and lengthen out your spine and have your hands rest. Or you can fold over. You know, if you have a chair like I do, if your head hits it, you can put your head on your chair, which keeps your spine long. Or you can fold. You know, it's up to you. If your arms will at all come away from your back, if that's possible, you can let that happen. Feel your shoulders there. So one more breath. And then let your hands come on down. Get your hands to your hips and then bend your knees and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, we're going to lower our left arm down and come over into a little side stretch. We're leaning a little to the left. Now, when you do that, see about feeling your feet. Let yourself bend your knees a little bit. Just a little bit, not a lot. And feel your feet equal in the floor. And then press into your feet, straighten your legs a bit as you come up. And as you lower that right arm down, let the left arm come up. And then again, we're going to come over to the side. Once you get there, bend your knees a little bit. Feel as equal as you can between your feet. Press into your feet a little bit, and then breathe into the left ribs. Very strengthening for the legs, very opening for the side body. Press into your feet as you come on back up, straighter legs, lower those arms on down beside you, and we'll inhale again, both arms all the way out and up. And as we exhale, we're going to bend our knees, hinge from the hips as you come forward. And let your next inhale give you a nice long spine again. And we are going to walk into a downward facing dog pose. So you choose what you like to do. Remember, if you're on your blocks, you can change the height. It'll change the feeling of the down dog. Take your time. And let your next inhale bring you on out towards a plank. If you want to add a back bend, you can. It is not necessary. If you want to let your hips come down and come through right from that plank to an up dog, you can. Or you can not do a back bend at all, or you can just stay if you want in plank and go back to dog. And so we'll all meet back in down dog. So walk a little bit. Remember too, if you decide to do a back bend, you can come to the floor and just go onto your forearms. That's a sphinx. So come on out to that plank again. Again, if you want to do a back bend, you can try or not. You can come a little bit down with your hips. You can decide you want to stay in plank. You can come to the floor and do a little sphinx on your forearms or do a little cobra. And then we'll make our way again back into down dog. And from here, let's let our right foot come forward, define lunge again. And then we'll step our way back into our standing forward bend again. Feet hips distance apart and parallel. Nice, deep, full breaths. Just be with your breath. In fact, just imagine there's nothing more important than you just watch your breaths coming in and going out fully. Feeling the movement as you breathe in and out. Imagining that you're breathing equally into both your lungs. And then we will let our hands just float back up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So if you need to adjust your way into mountain pose, by all means do it. Or sometimes just swaying around a little bit, feeling like you're swaying in a breeze, right? Letting yourself just easily get centered. Kind of find that central plumb line of your body. So your feet are equal in the floor. You're gently lifting your thighs upward out of those rooted feet. Your tailbone is reaching down towards between your heels. And your gaze is forward, and your body naturally really does want to align. Shoulders feeling nice and open. Your hips are over your ankles. And if the head can just feel like it's floating up there on top of your spine, finding that placement for your head. And then we'll gradually unfold our arms right on down beside us. Shake it out and move around a little bit through your feet and your ankles. You know, if you need to move, do it. I'm going to turn my chair around the other way. We're going to come into a warrior one here. So have your blocks handy too, but we are going to step our left foot forward. You can use your chair and step your right foot back. So if you keep your fingertips on your chair back, that's going to keep your shoulders square. So if you don't have a chair there, you can pretend you do, because that's going to get your shoulders square to the front of your mat. How far back you step this right foot, not important. It can be 18 inches, 2 feet, 3 feet. You want the foot turned slightly out. For now, see if you can bring your hands behind you and let your right hand encircle your left wrist. And some of the elbows are really bent. You're just resting really the back of your right hand there on your low back. Let it feel good. See if you can feel a couple of 3-part breaths, inhaling into your belly, into your ribs, up into your chest. Feeling that expansion across your chest, really. And then we're going to release the arms beside us, and we're going to inhale the arms forward and up into a bit of a wide V. How wide is up to you. If you want to keep your arms forward and be really wide with your arms like that, do. If you feel like you want to get a little closer towards your ears with your arms, you can. So just feel that sense now of inhaling up the front of your body. Imagine the exhale flows down the back of your body, but you're very equal now, front to back, side to side, even though you're very asymmetrical here, right? You're still balanced and equal. Arms growing out of your back, shoulders releasing down away from your ears. One more breath. And then we'll let our arms come on down. We're going to turn sideways on our mat. Now get your feet at least a little bit wider than your shoulders. And then turn your toes out a little bit. All right, so remember how we turned our toes out when we were on the floor? So the turnout comes from your hips. When you bend your knees a little bit, they should come out over the center of your feet. So you don't want to have your feet way turned out and your knees going inward like this, you know, shifting the weight to the balls of the feet. You still want to be really equal on your feet there. And then let your arms come straight out beside you. Bend your elbows in goddess to 90 degrees. Let your palms face forward if you can. And then when you inhale, straighten your legs up and let your arms come up long too into an X, like you're the letter X with your whole body. And then when you exhale, bend your knees again, bend your elbows again, and come back down. So when you inhale, you're straightening up your legs, you're straightening your arms and being like an X. And when you exhale, you're bending your knees, you're bending your elbows and coming back down. A lot of work in the hips and the legs. One more time. Inhaling. And as you exhale, bend and come down. You don't have to bend deeply to feel this goddess pose, do you? Man, your thighs will probably be talking to you. Let yourself take one more breath. And then come on up. Let your arms come down. Turn your toes now to where your feet are more parallel. And you might want to grab your blocks. We're going to come forward for a wide-legged forward bend. So you know you don't have to use blocks. You can use the floor if you want. And then go ahead and bend your right knee, but just stay with your right knee bent for a second. Your left leg is still straight. Find your inner thigh there. And then shift back and bend your left knee and keep your right leg straight. And let that feel good. And then you can come back and forth in your own timing. You know, if you feel like you want to shift a little faster, if you feel like it feels really good. And it may even make you want to adjust how wide you are too, once you shift a little bit side to side. And then come on back into center. Let yourself release here. Now, I like to stack blocks up to get out of my hands so that if you come to be in the pose and let yourself really release your upper body, it's really kind of good to be able to not feel like you're stressing your hands out, right? So if you want to stay forward, do. Like if you're forward, you've got your back lengthened. Your knees can stay a little bent in this pose. You can come into straighter legs if you choose to. That's really up to you. But just imagine you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet for a second. So like you're pressing your feet away from each other. Feel your inner thighs melt their way behind you. And you can stay, letting yourself stay with that long back. You can fold forward if you're comfortable to do that. You can release the crown of the head towards the floor. Let yourself come farther with your hands back more towards between your feet. Just be mindful, watch your breath now, and see if you can let yourself be with your breath and release your upper body. Feeling those full breaths again, expanding the ribs. And let go of your face and your jaw. Nice. One more breath. Now, the idea of coming up from here is up to everybody, right? What you do. So, if you like to bring your feet closer together before you come up, you can. If you're dizzy at all, be really mindful. You might want to stay wide for a little bit when you get up there so you don't lose your balance. And then, of course, you can walk around whenever you want. Move through your feet, your ankles, shake everything out. If you're stiff, move through those feet and ankles. We are going to do the other side. So this time the left foot is going to step back. So if you do have your chair there, you can always put your hands on it. And I forgot to say this on the other side. When you get into Warrior One, you feel really unsteady. If you kind of widen your feet a little bit more, like you're on very narrow railroad tracks, that can help the stability in the pose. It can also maybe feel better in our hips. It's up to you. But take a peek at that right knee. Make sure you're not bending that knee out beyond your toes. You want to be able to see your toes. That back foot is turned out maybe 20, 30 degrees. And then from here, bring your hands behind you. Let your left hand encircle your right wrist this time. So you feel that openness across your chest. It's easy though. And the belly's gently engaged. Now, in Warrior One, you're not trying to tuck your tailbone forward, because if you see me do that, see what it does to everything in the whole body, right? Your tailbone's actually reaching back just a little bit on a diagonal line, but your belly's working. So simple yet so effective, right? We're going to release our arms down beside us and inhale them forward and up. And again, you can widen your hands out as much as you want. Think of palms facing each other, maybe even pinkies turning a little more towards each other. If you want to bring your gaze up, if you do, feel what happens in the front of that left hip. If you just look up a little bit, there's more openness in the front of that left hip. Just enjoy Warrior One. Inhaling up the front of the body and exhaling down the back. One more breath. And now as you look forward, you're going to bring your arms on down. We're going to turn to face the left side of our mat. And again, feet are a little wide. Turn your toes out a little bit. Let's do a little goddess. So once you bend your knees, see if you can just kind of, don't shift a lot, but just a little bit side to side. And sometimes if you start shifting by letting one knee come a little straighter, sometimes you feel like you want your stance to widen, to get a little bit wider. It sometimes feels better actually when your feet are a little wider, if you want to know the truth. And then, see if you can stay put there. Bring your arms up and come into your goddess arms with the elbows bent to 90 degrees. Straighten your legs up for a second, just to see how that feels. And you might even be able to turn your heels a little more towards each other when you're straight with your legs. And then when you bend your knees, think of your knees coming out over the center of your feet. Good. Now stay bent in your knees. And when you exhale, draw your arms forward like you're bringing your hands and your elbows towards each other in front of you. And when you inhale, open back out with the arms. So here we're really staying strong in the legs. Exhale, bring your hands and forearms towards each other. Inhale, open them back. Stay really strong there. And one more time. Exhaling, bringing them on in. And then inhale and bringing them out. Nice. We're going to come into straighter legs. We're going to bring our hands down. And we are going to switch our feet to being more parallel. And we're going to come forward for that wide-legged forward bend. Again, whether you use blocks or the floor, that's up to you. If you need to wiggle around a little bit, when you get there, do it. And then get evened out between your feet. So either your knees are equally bent or they're equally straight, right? And we're going to walk our hands over towards the right. And you may just want to shift your blocks to the right. Some of you may want to walk all the way over to your foot and hold on to the foot or the outside of your ankle. Be where you can. Once you get there, let your right hand just come on up to your right hip. You can, if you want, roll your right shoulder up a little towards the ceiling too. That's optional. And then bring your right hand back down. We're going to move back through center, and we're going to go off to the other side. So again, you can use your blocks. You can walk with your hands. Go only as far as you want. When you get to where you're going, left hand comes on up to the left hip. And then if you want to roll your shoulder up a little bit, do. You can even look up if that feels good. Good, and then come on back down with the hand. Bring yourself on back into center with your hands. And again, you decide. Do you want to stack your blocks up? Decide how you want to be and stay in this pose. You know, maybe you can go a little bit lower than you did when we did it on the other side. Maybe not. It's just a matter of finding that spot where you're able to really release into that upper body. And watch your breaths in and out. And see if you can focus on the word so. Just S-O. So when you inhale. And hum is the word H-U-M when you exhale. So you inhale so. Exhale hum. Keeping your focus there. Letting your breaths be long and deep. One more nice, full, deep breath. And then to think of rising up, you know it is totally up to you how you do that. So if you need to shift around to get the feet closer, make it easy to come up, walk through your feet and ankles if you need to. We're going to come into Warrior 2 this time. So have your blocks again handy towards the front of your mat. We're going to step our right foot back. You can put your left hand on your chair to give you a little support. Right foot is about parallel to the back edge of our mats. And our left foot is about parallel to the long edge. So take your time, bend and straighten that front knee just a little bit. Don't lock the knee, but just kind of watch it as it comes a little straighter and bends again until you feel like, oh, that's really lined up in a good place in the center of my foot. Good. And then from there, just bring your hands to your heart. Let yourself just enjoy. So draw your right shoulder back a little bit already. So remember, Warrior 2 is a side-facing warrior instead of front. And then we're going to let our hands separate to where just the middle fingers, the tips of your middle fingers touch. It's like your hands are on a shelf right in front of your chest, right? And all you're going to do from here is unfold your arms, turn your head to look to the left, coming into your Warrior 2 arms, reaching out through your fingertips, feeling your feet in the floor. Now think about your arches of both feet lifting up. So you don't want to be rolling to the inside of either one of those feet. Then we'll turn our left palm up. Put your right hand on your right leg, slide the right hand down a little bit as you lift the left hand up towards the ceiling. Inhaling into the left side. And on the exhale, we'll come into side angle where you either put your left hand on your chair or on your thigh or your forearm. And you can add the right arm up into line with the right side of the body if you're comfortable to do that in your shoulder. Or you can keep your right hand right down on your hip. Or you can bring it straight up if that's okay for your shoulder, better than bringing it in towards your head. We're all different. So you got to find what feels okay. You want your shoulder to feel okay. You want to feel that length in your spine. We're going to come on back into Warrior Two from here, reaching the fingertips away from the midline. And then we're going to bring our hands down, and we're going to bring our hands all the way down to either blocks or the chair, and find a lunge where we're reaching back directly through that right heel now. So remember, your feet are like they're on narrow railroad tracks. Get comfortable in your lunge. When you're ready to bring your left hand to your left hip, roll that shoulder up. If you can put your palm right down on your sacrum there, do. And of course, some of you I know like to stretch the arm up too. If you want to stretch that arm up, you're more than welcome to do that. Or you can keep your hand down. One more breath. And then we'll release to come on back down. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. And then bend both your knees just a little bit. And let yourself release your hips that way. And then we'll bring our hands to our hips and rise straight on up. We're going to inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, as our hands come down, think about the top of your head getting closer to the ceiling. Right? So there's all that space in your spine. It's like you've increased the spaces between the vertebrae and your spine. It's pretty amazing stuff, and it really actually works. And then let yourself release and come on down. And we are going to do the other side. So we'll just step left foot back now. And again, bringing yourself into that right knee bending out over the center of your foot. Left foot's about parallel to the back edge. And again, if you can bend and straighten, not necessarily straightening too much, but just a little straighter and bending till you feel that action in your knee. And you know it's safe, that you're not sending that knee way, way, way out beyond your toes, which over time is not so great. And then stay with your knee bent there. Take your time. Let your hands come to your heart again. Let yourself be easy. And then separate the hands just until it's the tips of your middle fingers touching and it's like your hands are on a shelf. Now we're just going to unfold our arms, and as we do, we'll turn our head to look right over the top of the right hand. Now don't forget the left hand back there. Reach back through the left fingertips forward through the right, and press your feet gently away from each other. Feel your whole body in this Warrior Two. It's an amazing pose. We're going to put our left hand down on our leg back there, turn our right palm up, and slide your left hand down a little bit. Reach up with your right hand. More space between the ribs. So feel the breath making the spaces even bigger between your ribs on the right side. That's the wonder of our breath. One more inhale. And on the exhale, we'll come into that side angle. So again, it can be your right hand on your above your knee there. You're more than welcome to go down to forearm if you want to go lower, but don't round, right? You don't want to round into the spine here. You want the spine to stay lengthened out. So it's better to stay up higher and keep your spine longer than to try to come down and then make that curve, right? So think straight. Think straight spine, straight length through that left side of the body. Good. Reach your left sitting bone down towards your left heel. Beautiful. We're going to come back to Warrior Two from there, pressing the feet away from each other. Now we'll bring our hands down. We're going to find a lunge, remember. So whether you put your hands on blocks or a chair or the floor, find that lunge where you're comfortable to be. And then we'll bring our right hand to our right hip, to your low back if you can, palm down. Maybe that's enough right there. Try to stay level right where your hand is there so you're not dropping into the left side. And of course you can stretch your arm up if you choose to. You don't have to. Keep your hand down if you want. So one more breath. Reach through that inner left heel there. And then bring your hand on back down. We're going to step forward and get our feet right underneath us. And we'll bend our knees a little bit. Press into our feet. Rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. So if you need to adjust into your mountain pose, do. You might even want to look at your feet. That depends on you. And then just really be mindful as you bring your gaze forward, whether your eyes are opened or closed. Let your hands really lightly touch there in front of your chest. So the fingers are spread, but you're just lightly touching your hands together there. And you can feel that sense of the head floating up there on top of your spine. Beautiful. And then let your hands release on down. Shake out just a little bit. And we're going to do one more balancing thing before we go to the floor. So let's turn either the seat of our chair around to face us, or bring your blocks to the highest height and put your hands down on them. So you can be on fists, remember. Your blocks want to be apart about a foot, so they're underneath your shoulders, right? So make sure you don't have your blocks really close in together, but you have them where when your hands are on them, it's really comfortable to put weight into your hands. Feet a little closer together. Let your feet almost touch, really. And then bend both your knees. Pick your right foot up. You're standing just on your left leg now, and you have weight on your hands. And we're going to stretch the left leg back to a little warrior three. Turn the toes down a little bit. Now, just for fun, you're already feeling it in that supporting leg, obviously. See if you can think of turning your right toes up away from the floor, towards a half moon. So you're opening your hip a little bit. It's not huge. You'll feel it, definitely feel it, but it's different feeling on that supporting leg, isn't it? And then turn your toes back down. There's your warrior three. And then put the right foot back down on the floor. This is a good way to figure out which one you like best, warrior three or half moon. So lift your left foot up. Knees are bent for a second. Weight in your hands. Stretch the leg back long for warrior three now. Your toes are facing down. Your hips are level. So the pinky toe of your left foot is actually facing right down towards the floor. And then just think about opening the toes away from the floor. It's almost like you're trying to stack your left hip on top of your right in a way. So the toes come up away. They're kind of starting to just reach a little more up away from the floor. The hip opens up. And then turn the toes back down so you can really feel it when you do it slow motion like this. And then go ahead and put the foot down. Release your hips however you need. If you need to squat or semi-squat, put your elbows above your knees. Let it go. Good. And then, let's come back one more time, just one more time. I'm going to go to the chair. I really feel sorry for people who don't have a chair. It's really a lot easier. We're going to be in our chair with our feet closer together, and we're going to lift the right leg up. And then we're going to open again into that half moon. Now, if you can, see if you can let your weight shift a little more to your left hand. So if you have a chair in half moon, you can put your hand up onto the back of your chair, and you can be in a half moon there, and it's a little bit harder. You're reaching your toes away from the floor. You can stretch your arm up if you want. And then you're going to release and come back down with the foot there. We're going to go right away to the other side. So again, when you come into opening that hip, if you can, maybe just shift a little more weight to your right hand, right? And you can even put the left hand up on your hip or stretch the arm up overhead if you really want to balance, right? Half moon, it's a balancing pose. It's also a great pose for the hip, the spine. You can use your chair. It's wonderful if you have your chair there. And then we'll come on back down. Good. And again, release your hips however you want. Elbows above your knees. If you'd rather do a full squat, you know, those of you who can come down into a full squat and it doesn't bother your knees and your hips, do it. If not, stay elbows above the knees at least to let yourself release and find the back release and the hips release. Good. From here, we are going to go down onto our bellies on the floor. So if you got a chair there, you might want to move it off to the side. And then just come on down and make a little pillow with your hands. Rest your forehead there. And just enjoy. Really letting go into the back there. Bend your knees once you get situated and circle your feet around a little bit. And you can let the legs go, lower legs one side to the other if you want to. Just let it feel good. If you want, you can even separate your knees wider towards the edges of your mat and then let the feet just come to support each other in the middle, if that feels like a release for your back and your hips. So the feet are up in the air, right? But, I mean, you can let the feet go down more if that feels good too, right? That's a Baddha Konasana that can help your hips maybe just relax a little bit more. Good, and then we're going to come all the way back to long legs here. And let's come up onto our forearms, so coming into Sphinx with our elbows pretty close to under our shoulders if our backs allow this, right? If you can spread your fingers wide and like really reach your fingers wide, like you're at a piano trying to reach through an octave, right? You're really stretching your hands there so you feel like, oh, I'm really feeling good in my hands. I can feel that engagement of the belly, which really protects your back. One more breath here in your Sphinx, and then just press into the top of your left foot and bend your right knee. Flex the foot a little bit. Doesn't matter how high up you bring the foot. Engage your belly a little more. Keep pressing into the top of the left toes. And then come on down with that foot. We're going to switch legs. Press into the top of the right toes. So really press, engage your belly. And as you draw that left foot up, you flex it, you feel it. It may even like float you off the floor. Like your belly might come off the floor doing this. And then come on back down. Good. From here, let's clasp our hands, send our pinkies out, bend our knees, lift our hips, and come into a half forearm plank. So imagine you're drawing yourself towards the front of your mat, which pulls you more to the flesh above your knees. You can stay right there. You can, if you want to put your feet down and do a full forearm plank, by all means do it. Or if you're like, I don't even want to do a half one, you can come down and rest, of course. And you know, you may want to do another one after you rest a little bit. So take your time, find what feels good for you. Finding that sense of using your belly, your low back, and your hips. Good. And then we're going to come down all the way. And we're going to lie on our head on our right forearm. So just let yourself lie your head on your right forearm and bend your left knee. So here we are in a little half bow. This is a half bow. Now to add a little bit to the upper body, all you have to do is lift your head up off your arm a little bit. And there you are. That's a half bow pose. It does not have to be all the way reaching for your foot. Now, if you want to, you can. You can reach your left hand back for your foot. If it's easy to get there, you know, you can pull the foot away from you like you're pushing it into your hand. And take your time with that. If you've got the foot, just enjoy. One more breath. Now, just for fun, come down, switch arms. Stay with your left foot up, right? But bring your left forearm underneath you. Now, for those of you who held the foot on that side, see if you can reach your right hand back and get your left foot. Well, we've never done this before. It's bringing your right arm around and across. So what this does is opens your chest huge. It really brings an opening into your chest if you can do that. So one more breath. And then come on down, and we're going to switch, all right? So we're going to come into bending the left knee, right? We had the right knee bent before, right? No. Okay. We're going to bend the right knee. Thank you very much. I'm like, wait a minute, that doesn't feel right. And then from there, take your time. If you can lift your head up, do. Don't force it. You know, so you don't want to come way up and hurt your back. You know, if you want to come up a little higher, do it, obviously. If reaching back to get your right hand to hold your right foot is easier that way, do it. You know, or you can just not get the foot at all, right? Stay down. So right now we're on the same hand as foot in bow pose. Half bow pose, okay? And then come down And you're going to think about keeping that right foot up. Switch to put your left arm up to think about reaching back to get your right foot across the body. If you come up a little higher in that, you'll feel that there's a twist involved, but it also really opens your shoulder. It's a different feeling. Don't do it if it hurts. And then come on back down. Lengthen both legs long. Bring your arms down alongside you. Turn your palms down towards the floor. And when you inhale, float into a little locust pose. Hopefully it'll feel almost like a relief. So a locust pose is engaging your back body, big time, right? Strengthening your back muscles. Try if you can. Yeah, definitely, you're going to feel your glutes. But try not to like overly grip. I don't know how to exactly describe that, and then let yourself release down. Bend both your knees. Let your feet come side to side a little bit. So you do like little windshield wiper blades. And if you want to come closer to a bow pose here, you can either put your hands under your forehead and lift up a little bit right here with your knees both bent, right? That's a version of a bow pose. That's a back bend, more of a back bend. Or you can reach back, get hold of the top of your feet or your ankles. And if you want more, you can push your feet into your hands. You can even lift your feet up higher. That is totally optional and you know it. So you be where you can. And then we're going to release to come down. We're going to shift back towards child's pose. So let yourself, everyone is different. Child's pose for you might be shifting forward to your forearms, letting your hips kind of be up in the air. That has to do with whether your knees are going to bend any more deeply, right? Don't push anything. You can shift back. You can let yourself shift your hips towards your heels. Some of you might want to make your hands or your arms into a little pillow for your head, or you might want to bring your arms just to be soft overhead or down and back alongside your legs with the palms up. And some people are more comfortable in child's pose to let their head turn to one side. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's fine to stay with your forehead down. It's fine to let your head be turned one way. And of course, if you feel like you want to turn the head the other way, you just make sure you turn it now so you even yourself out. Breathing into the low back. Good. Now think of coming up. Hands by the knees. It is up to you as you come up how you want to make your way around to sitting so that your legs come out long in front of you. And if you're better off to sit up on something, grab yourself a blanket if you want, or a block in a blanket. Let your legs be out there in front of you. We're going to do just a little bit here. Let's keep our right leg long and bring our left leg over either into a figure 4 where you cross your ankle above or below your knee. If even that is too much, you can always keep the foot on the outside. Or some of you might want to come into what's called a half cow face, where your leg comes more to the midline and you cross your thigh kind of over your thigh, where your knees are sort of in a line, really. That's so not in everybody's hips. Just do what feels good to you, right? Because from here, you're going to think about coming a little bit forward from your low back. So whether you're in a figure 4 or you have your thighs more crossed here, you're going to get like crazy into the back of this long leg, but you'll also feel it in this hip, right? So as you come forward from the low back, take time to just release. I mean, you can reach. If you want to reach down towards your toe, go for it. If you want to hold on just to your leg, or if you're like basically pretty much like barely coming forward, just hold your knee if you want, or your shin. Let yourself just enjoy finding what you can for both the back of that long leg and for the hip of the bent leg. Now from here, we're going to add a little bit. So stay forward as much as you can and bring your left hand somewhere to the outside of that long leg. It might be to the outside of your foot or your ankle or your shin. Bring your right hand to your right hip And now you're just going to draw that right shoulder back. And man, that IT band is talking to you now. It should be anyway. You'll feel the outside of that long leg. Good. So one more breath here. And now let yourself come back forward. And then we'll rise on back up. And we're going to switch legs. So left leg is long. Right leg again, comes over again, either figure 4 here above or below the knee, whatever works for you inside the leg if your hip feels better there. Or again, if you want to think of getting thighs together like that, knees closer, this leg can move over a little bit, right? It can move over across for you guys over that way. And then again, when you think about coming forward, feel the heel of this left long leg in the ground. Draw it back towards you because that engages you in both the front and the back of your leg when you come forward. It'll keep you from doing too much. It'll protect you, right? And then you can decide. It's intense forward bend, actually. Intense because it's such a big hamstring stretch and also a hip opener. So just be mindful. Let yourself enjoy. Be with your breath. Enjoy might not be quite the right word, but breathe to where you need it though. And now you're still forward at least a little bit if you can be. Bring your right hand somewhere to the outside of that left long leg there. And then just bring your left hand to your hip and draw that shoulder back. If you kind of press the leg, that long left leg, into your right hand, you can feel the outside of your leg. It's actually a very good stretch. It's a great stretch if you ever take baths, if you're in the bathtub. I know, because I did it in COVID for months. It's a great stretch to do in the bathtub because, you know, you're warm and it feels so good. And then we're going to come on back into center. And then we'll rise on back up and stretch your legs on out. And bring them out a little bit wide. Just circle through your feet and kind of do a little bit of in and out and in and out and in and out. You can massage too if you want around your knees and your thighs. And we are going to come down to our backs, but before you go down, have your strap handy. All right, so we'll come down. We're just going to do a little bit of work with our strap, see if what we all just did kind of pays off. But bring your knees in and, you know, let yourself for a second, just get your strap, kind of lay it across your, what do you call these, shins. And kind of just kind of pull your knees in, let your low back release to the floor. Oh. And then we're going to slip our right foot in the strap, and we're going to send the right foot up, put the left foot down on the floor when you do. And now, just take your time, bend that right knee a little bit. Don't try pulling the leg towards you. Just let yourself feel however you want to hold the strap, whether it's up by your foot or down lower where your upper arms are on the floor. Just kind of feel your shoulders relax, feel the weight of your arms. And then lengthen your left leg, if you can, down long on the floor. Now, coming into a straighter right knee, totally up to you. You can still have a bend in that knee and get a lot from this pose. So be where you can. Let yourself enjoy feeling the back of that leg. Press gently with your ball of your foot into the strap. Good, and now bring both ends of the strap into your right hand. Let your left hand rest on top of your left hip and open your leg out to the right, pressing into the strap with the ball of the foot. Just be mindful, let it feel good. You don't have to go any farther than you want. And then come back up to the top, switch hands, and go across the other way towards the left with that right leg. It goes left across as deeply into a twist as you want. Maybe what we did sitting on the floor makes it easier, makes it feel better. Just let the right shoulder release towards the ground. And then we'll come back up to the top with the leg. From here, put your left foot back up in the strap. Put your right foot back down to the floor. Then bend your left knee for a second here. Let yourself get adjusted with the strap across the base of your big toe mound and the base of your little toe mound. Good. And then lengthen that right leg down long on the floor if you can. Remember, you don't have to do that if it's too much. And of course, to come into a straighter leg, if you need that leg to come farther away from you because you like to let it come into straighter leg and it's too much for it to be in close, really don't pull your leg. Don't feel any kind of pulling sensation at your hamstring attachment. Just enjoy. Feel the weight of your arms. Enjoy feeling that back of the leg just easily opening up. And then bring both ends of the strap into your left hand, right hand on your right hip, and open the leg to the left. Now it can be just a little bit, doesn't have to be much. That is totally up to you. Stay grounded in that right side. See if you can press the ball of the foot into the strap just gently. That might bring a little more into the pose. And then bring it to the top again, the leg, and switch hands. Now your right hand's going to draw the leg over to the right. And again, left shoulder stays grounded. You can go a foot. You can go all the way down towards the ground with that foot, that leg if you want. But ease your way into it. Let yourself enjoy. One more breath. And now come on back up to the top with the leg. And go ahead, bend your knee. Take your strap off. Be careful. Remember those metal end buckles can be awful if you hit yourself. Bring your knees in and cross your ankles. And just let your knees go from side to side. And you can switch whenever you want to. Perhaps you feel like you'd rather put your feet in the air, do a happy baby, or a little bit of movement, cross-country skiing, or a wide angle. In other words, this is your time to let your body do what it needs. And that could be anything. Or it might mean that you're ready to do nothing. You might be ready to let yourself think about coming into Shavasana. Just give me some time here. Do not get up to get anything. It's against the rules. I don't have any rules really, but I'm the one who gets to get the stuff. So if the idea of a little support for you feels like a good idea for under your knees, I can bring bolsters. I've got big bolsters, I've got little bolsters, I've got blankets for underneath your head, or blankets for rolled under your knees if you want just a little bit. And just take your time, heading around. And wave at me if you think a bolster sounds good for you. Some ideas, but it seems today I'm not quite right on every front. So if you do stretch out though and you feel a little bit of discomfort, it's something underneath your knees. Just changes the angle of your pelvis a little bit, which can help your low back release. So let me know. You want one? Yeah. And the other thing is to let your arms find a comfortable place to be, right? So wave at me if I missed anybody. Let yourself feel that release as you find that comfortable place for your arms and your legs. You let yourself start to accept your breaths as they come in and go out through your nose. Enjoying that wave of your breath. helps you to bring your focus back to your breath, to just count your breaths. You can count, you can think a word like we did, inhaling so, exhaling hum, or something of your choice, of course. That sometimes helps you refocus easier. But just let that wave of your breath lead you into these quiet little spaces. Trusting that your body will get what it needs from all you just did. If you can just give yourself a few minutes and let yourself completely and fully relax. forcing the breath, just gradually letting the breath come in deeper, starting to help you feel more energy coming back to you. So that when movement feels like a good idea, let your fingers and your toes, if you can, start to wiggle and move, and just move on up into your hands, your feet, your arms, your legs when you're ready. You know, you might need to stretch, you might need to bend, might need to move around a little bit. Just be mindful, take your time, enjoy the ground a little longer if you can. And you are welcome to roll to either your right or your left side. If you're comfortable to do that, you can come on to either side, coming into a soft fetal position there. Always, use your arm as a pillow if you need, or a blanket. Just be mindful as you gradually come back into feeling physical again, really. So that when you do feel ready to rise up, it feels like the next best thing to do to get your head again up there above your heart, and get comfortable in how you sit. You can stretch your legs out. You can grab anything you want to put underneath you to sit on if you need to. But just feel that sense of the top of the head starting to reach up towards the ceiling again, your sitting bones reaching downward towards the ground, finding that length in your spine. And watch your breath again, coming in and going out. And on your next exhale, just gently allow your hands to come to meet there in front of your chest, in front of your own heart. And wishing each one of you a very joyful day. Namaste. Namaste. Happy Monday. Nearly July. People are shooting fireworks next door to me last night, so you know it's coming.
Late at night, probably.
Yeah, like at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah.